What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid, little Sunday fun day, little weekend daytime stream. Let's get right into it. We got Jason Calhoun, the Huron River Rat, in the stream. Appreciate you guys coming, or Who Hames as well. Appreciate you guys showing up. Let's dig into it. We're Combine Week, as we see here. Happy it's Combine Week. Finally, we can get a little more data. Get a little more, I'm excited to see some size, speed, size, weight, height, weight, and obviously 40 times, shuttle times, broad jumps, explosion drills, things like that. They're always important to sink our teeth into, keep an eye on, and just confirm our priors. Hopefully it's not, the be all end all decider, but might be for certain guys. But we got the sound of summer here. Even though it's not quite summer, pretty warm right now where I am. The snow's melting, Chinook season. If you don't know what that is, we can talk about it. But yeah, let's get that poured. This is a Banff Ave Black Pilsner is what we got our hands on here. So cheers to the weekend. We're going to jump right in and just rip a draft. We're going to do, a big board. I would think that there's going to be something else launched. ABB, I'm not sure. It can't be too high. It's just a Pilsner, but it's a black Pilsner. Obviously it's a little bit more bitter, dark lager, right? But ABB on, I'm not sure what it is, but I kind of live by if you can see through it, it ain't beer. Is kind of my thought process there. Dark Side Dev doesn't like it. Looks awful, but enjoy. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. So either way, I think there's something that's gonna get released at some point soon here. 63% filled on the little board. I have 21 bullets left there, so I'm pushing it as far as I can. I want the combine to get here. I've got 2 more bullets in the bigger board, 2 more bullets in the biggest board. Then I'm saving, and that shouldn't be a problem. I know it won't fill before the combine. So I should be all right with the little board. I could power draft those pretty easily and pretty quickly. And then the big board, 34% full, 107 bullets left in that. But let's jump into a big board. 3 people waiting on 3. Yeah, I expect something else to get launched. Maybe like another War Room type of a contest, something like that. Maybe 4 max, 5 max, 10,000 to 15,000 entries, something like that. Something small, something we can really sink our teeth into. Teeth. Ingramite 75 in again. Are you in the chat, man? Are you lurking in the chat, not saying anything? It's pretty random that you're in another draft with me without knowing who you are or saying anything in the chat. Biff Tannen, you got to love that name. Draft with him a lot. Cade Calander, definitely drafted with him a few times. Don't know who that is, though. We got Who Hames and River Rat, Huron River Rat in the 2 and 3. So you guys can snipe each other. Maybe I'll hit you a couple times. I'm sure we'll get some snipes on each other. But yeah, if your name's Ingramite 75 and you're in the chat, let me know. Just let me know. Just lurking. Trying to scoop some live stream EV. The big board payout sucks. I really want something else to drop. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's a little more top heavy, I think. And then, making the final only gets half of a max buy-in. So I like that about the big board, where if you get one team in the finals, you're making money. So I kind of do like that. I don't mind if they flattened it out a little bit. I think a lot of people agree, like 10th place and you're only getting $7,000. That's, a little thin for me as well. Yeah, especially with how popular the tournament is now. Do I take my first share of Barkley? At 5, that's where I have him ranked. I guess I do. I'll take my first Barkley share. Got to do it if he falls into your lap. So yeah, I don't disagree. I don't necessarily disagree. I wish it was a little flatter. You make a 3 of 12, 1 of 10, 1 of 10, 558 seat final, and you get 10th place and you make $7,000. Like, yeah, it's nice, but I think it should be a little juicier. Yeah, it's only 1,500 more than 20th, right? So I certainly don't disagree. Don't love it, but you're playing for the top prize. If you get 2 in the finals, you paid it off, right? Last year I had 2 in the finals, so I would have paid off my big board. But I don't disagree. And I think something else will drop. Like I said, something smaller, like 4 or 5 max entry, 10 to 15,000 entries, something like that, something like the War Room. Who Hames agrees. Yeah. Total points is tricky. Yeah, that's the drafter's style. It's underdog law. Yeah, if you're in the draft, you must reveal yourself. It's underdog law. This is good. This is smart. Last year I just did any tournament, but I'm being more selective and trying to only max enter. That's not a bad strategy at all. People like Eagles, James Brimacombe, he doesn't really play the Best Ball Mania at all. He'll max out all the puppies, which essentially is it's a very similar tournament as far as the, obviously the payouts are a ton different, but as far as the advance rates and everything like that, it's a very similar tournament. Plus, it's about, I don't know, a third of the cost, less than a third of the cost. So that's a good strategy. I love the poodles. The poodles are by far my favorite. I've made the finals in a poodle. There's usually 3 poodles, something like that, but I've made a final in one of them every year for the past 2 years. So I love the poodles, 20 max, the 10 max, 20 max. Those are my absolute favorites. But yeah, the puppies are good. Yeah, the 4 max, like what's that one? Not the Dalmatian, the Chow Chow. That one's a really good structure. I like the higher dollar value, less entries. So like, $50 4 max, $100 5 max, stuff like that. Those are my absolute favorite tournaments. But we'll see. Who Hames? I don't think I'll be maxing BBM this year. I'll do like 75. That's fair. That's fair. Like it's a big investment. It really, really is. And it's very, 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 very difficult to make the finals. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's not an easy tournament. It's not an easy structure. So I really don't blame you on that. I was thinking about pulling back, but if there's going to be a fun turn, a fun like Justin Herzig is putting together something where it's like, oh man, falling into my lap, Jonathan Taylor, I guess. Maybe I take Tyreek because I won't have a lot of Barkley. Let's do that. Let's get Tyreek Hill. I want him with everyone in the first round. But Herzig's putting together like a fun salary cap. If you're max, he's gonna give everybody, I'll be a low cost option for sure. But obviously I'm gonna pick myself. And only if you kind of max enter. So that's oddly enough, that's kind of like pushing me to max enter, but I probably would anyways. So yeah, I'll probably max out BBM. Most likely. Dark Side, I reached the finals in the fast puppy last year. It was a nice sweat. Yeah, anytime you're in the finals, you got a puncher's chance, right? You got a shot. So that's what we're all playing for. That's why, like in Best Ball Mania, I was all in on just stacking to week 17. So if I had one team in the final in Best Ball Mania, I wanted it to be like a true sweat and kind of all in on two teams typically, or two week 17 matchups, right? Although I didn't get to the final, obviously that was really tough. It really pissed me off because I was really right. Like I did a really good job of identifying value and, sleepers and stacks and game stacks and all that. But yeah, you can be as right as you right as you want to be, and it still doesn't end up mattering. So it's tough. It's a tough game we play. That's for sure. So where do we want to go here? Saquon and Tyreek. Going off my rankings, it would be Terry, Brees Hall, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. And that's probably what I'll take is one of those three. That's what makes the most sense. Evans gets pulled up by Huhames. Get a little different. DJ Moore gets pulled up. DJ Moore's ADP is getting a little aggressive for me personally. Now, who do I want of these three? Let's go Terry because of the correlation, the division correlation with Barkley. Let's take that. Let's take that and see what happens from there. But yeah, it's good. I'll do probably not now because there's only a certain amount of tournaments. There's only 5 with the War Room. And maybe there'll be one more, but I don't even know if they will because they have to fill the big board. I think they will. That shouldn't be a problem. So I think the bigger dollar values, the bigger board, the biggest board, most people, including myself, honestly, if I'm being honest, I think anyone that's sharp is waiting till the combine before they're filling it, before they're maxing it. So I would expect those two tournaments to fill for sure. It just won't be until the combine at a minimum. People want as much information as possible in those higher dollar values, which of course I do too. I might do one of each right after the combine, and then wait as long as I possibly can to draft my final bullet in those two tournaments. And then, the big board the little board will obviously fill no problem. And then the big board will fill. It'll just take, a little more time. But it definitely will fill. So that I would expect something, but we'll do a stream when the summer comes in Best Ball Mania season about that, contest selection, where you can find some value, and maybe you're a stronger drafter in certain, structures. Like if it's 4 of 12, 2 of 10, 2 of 10, something like that, or 1 of 4, whatever, I think I have a strength in those types of structures. So I 100% focus on those tournaments, and I will max whatever that tournament is. But stuff like BBM, it's a bit of a crapshoot. Like it is, you can do certain things and draft properly, and then, let the cards, fall where they may, sort of thing. But certain structures are better for me. Certain structures might be better for you. I don't do super flex at all. I hate super flex. So I don't do any. I learned my lesson after the first year of doing them when they first came out. I was like, oh yeah, super flex, that'll be fun. And I did horribly, and I won't do any more because I just don't see any value in it. So I don't do any super flex. So there you go. There's an example. Chris the Candyman, Fantasy Football Garage, what's happening? Green Bean, thanks for coming out, guys. Good to see you. But yeah, we'll do a stream and we'll talk about that sort of thing. We'll talk about contest structures and contest selection. Superflex is Donation City. Chris is not a Superflex fan. Really dropped those. I don't do any. I haven't done any PGA. The PGA drafts are really hard too. I do 150 max on DraftKings. I do the little the little, I don't know what you call it, the mini max, I think is what it's called. 50 cents, for 150 entries. That's usually, I do that every week. I'm a Fantasy National guy, so that's where I do my my models and build out my structure. You know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. Let's go with, I need a little bit more of Jameson Williams in my life, and he does kind of correlate with the NFC side. So let's bring in some Jameson Williams. But yeah, I do my models and everything. I do all my research and everything on Fantasy National. I build my lineups on Fantasy National, and then I obviously export to DraftKings, and then I throw them up there. I've won a mini max, first place in the at Pebble Beach a couple years ago. That was sweet. It's only $3,000, so that kind of sucks. And then I just like put it all on the $20 150 entry, the main tournament, and didn't do well. So I should have went with the $5. I didn't even know that tournament existed. The $5 150 max. That's what I want to get to eventually. Hopefully I can be doing that every week where it's like 50K up top, and that would be a really nice score. But yeah, we've talked about golf a little bit, you and I, and I'm a massive, massive golf fan. It's actually a really nice finish at Vedanta right now. I was watching that until here we are. So yeah, but I don't do it on Underdog. Again, I tried and I just got crushed, and I won't do it anymore. I just got completely crushed in it. All my teams were dead by like, the third cutoff or something like that. It was just like zero sweat. So I just said, no, I'm no more golf best ball for me. But I know you do well on it, so keep it rolling, man. Congrats on that. I know you do well. Current on tour. Yeah, I'm huge golf fan. You know that. An undecent superflex, a few semi teams and limited entries. Nice. Like if it works for you, that's what I'm saying. Contest selection. Be whatever works for you and whatever you think is a strength for you, or whatever you see yourself getting an edge, then eat it up, man. Take the edge and max enter, whatever. Do what you got to do. Put the money down. Not taking Chuba at this price. So it's either Devontae, George Kittle, Jalen Waddle. Let's go Devontae. I missed my pick. Auto pick Devontae. So yeah, whatever works for you. The scramble is tough. I'm going better this year. I'm a big fan of Albatross majors only. Yeah, that's a little easier to project just because you know who's playing, right? You know who's playing in the majors, who's qualified, right? So yeah, I don't mind that. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of that in, but I don't know. We'll see. It's just really tough, those PGA best balls. But yeah, huge golf fan. All over the DraftKings as far as golf is concerned. It's easier. Like for what's interesting is for football, I despise the 150 entries. It's really hard to build winnable lineups, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just not. I used what did I use? Fantasy Labs. I use Fantasy Labs to build 150 lineups because you can't hand build 150 lineups. It's madness. I do 20 max in football where I can hand build 20, right? And then I do like a 5 max or 3 max or something like that as well, where I can hand build them all. But for golf, it's really easy on like Fantasy National is on, in my opinion, the best. And you can build the 150 and just mass enter. So it's the way to go. Ben Haskell, what's happening? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hit that like button. Here's a good Canadian kid. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're in Chinook season. It's definitely spring is pretty much here where I am at. So all the snow's melting, water's getting in my garage. I just had to shovel it all out. So that's fun. Hopefully it doesn't wreck my garage walls or a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Like Ben said, wipe your feet at the door, smack the like button if you don't mind. If you like the content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We'll be drafting for the rest of until the draft, literally until the draft. And then I'm always super excited. I love my favorite episode every year is my mock draft. I only do one. I hate when people put out 16 different mock drafts. It drives me crazy. I really think it's silly. You can't say you did your work and you were right if you put out 16 different mock drafts, right? So I put in all my work. I do all my research. I put out one mock draft, and it's my favorite episode every single year. But Jason Calhoun just cracked open a nice cold Molson Canadian. I mean, I appreciate the shout, but it's not even a Canadian beer, and it's disgusting. If I'm being honest, I hate Molson Canadian. It's not even Canadian. Actually, it's owned by Coors, so it's not even Canadian, and it's a disgusting beer. If you ask me, I don't like it at all. Don't mind doing multiple draws, mocks, but only one you can brag on is the last one. Yeah, that's fair. Boo, it's Canada Light. Yeah, it's gross beer, man. It's not good. It's not good, in my opinion. I could be alone on that one, but What are we doing here? I got to take some value on Cortland Sutton. I haven't drafted him much at all, but if he's going to fall into my lap, 11 picks, almost a full round after ADP, then yeah, I'll get some Cortland Sutton. Let's get him in the team here. That's too easy. Got to do it. Oh man, we're all about the lucky logger out west. Yo, when you're on a budget, times are tough, man. Times are tough in Canada. True North fantasy football. You know how tough times are in Canada right now. But so I don't blame you. But lucky logger, yeah, that's you get the 8 packs for like $15 or something. Depends on where you are. I think you're in BC, so you get taxed up the yin yang. I'm in basically tax-free Alberta where it's at. So yeah, it's a little cheaper to buy booze for me, but I think you're in BC. Let me know where you're at. I think you're in BC. Definitely falling behind at running back, but I'm still fine with Barkley. That shit was a delicacy in the early 20s, no doubt. That's what you bought. I used to buy Wildcat Strong. It was 6.1%, and it was like the cheapest beer you could find. So 6.1%, it was like having 7 beers when you bought 6, right? If you get a 6-pack, it was like having 7 beers. So when you're really young and trying to get the job done on a budget, that was my go-to. Wildcat Strong. That was a nasty beer, to be honest with you. It was not good at all, but it was cheap. What are we doing here? 92. Do I try to push Bo Nix or do I just bring him in? If there was a running back that I really needed, I can do without these wide receivers. So let's bring in Bo Nix. Stack him up with Cortland Sutton. I've got a lot of Bo Nix. Basically zero. This is my first share in the big board of Cortland Sutton. So if I'm doing that, then I might as well pair him up with Bo Nix, who I have a lot of exposure to. I think that makes a lot of sense. If Judkins was there, I would have taken him, but Jason Calhoun took him. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, we go for the 4-pack of Lucky Force 8s. If we're real broke, 8%. Strong beer bong, all 4 in your toast. Yeah, that'll get the job done. that'll get the job done for sure. Yeah, drinking on a budget. But again, that's Canada these days. But yeah, in BC, you guys get taxed like crazy. I don't even know how you put gas in your vehicle to get to the liquor store. Sorry, everyone else, for this Canada talk that doesn't affect anyone else in the chat, but little history, little Canada lesson for you, how things work up here. Where are we at here? Let's take a look. Here on River at Jamar Chase at the 2 spot. That's nice. Bijan goes 1. Okay. That's fine. That's doable. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Bucky Irving, Joe Burrow. I like that. Rashee Rice, Juwan Jennings, and Judkins. Yeah, this will definitely play. I don't mind that. Justin Jefferson, Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, Devontae Smith, Omarion Hampton, David Montgomery, Jaden Reed. I like that. That'll work too. 2 quarterbacks here. Hopefully you're done at quarterback. Definitely interesting. I mean, you won't be stacking up CD or Ladd. At least you shouldn't. Little bully tight end action right here. Puka, CMC, Trey McBride, Tet McMillan pulled up the board. So I'm not a huge fan of that pick personally. George Kittle pairs up with McCaffrey and then Ayuk. So he's going to want to bring in Purdy, I'd imagine. Luther Burden. I'm almost there on my rankings, which I will show probably after the combine. I'll finish them completely. Mind you, it might not change too much. It shouldn't change too much unless something completely off the rails happens at the combine. But then I will show my spreadsheets with all my rankings. I'm almost done. My top 10s. But Daddy, how you doing? Drafting on a Sunday? Yeah, man. We usually pull one up on the weekends at some point. One on the weekend, usually. I'm hanging out. My wife went to meet a friend and do some plant shopping, stuff like that. So I figured I'd jump on and rip a draft. Interesting spot. I think I'm gonna go with Jonu. Pair him up with Tyreek. It's not completely off the table that Tyreek gets traded still this offseason. We'll see. It's not off the table. It has to be a trade. Will not be. They're not going to cut him. That's for sure. But yeah, it's not off the table that they trade him. But we'll see. I don't think they do. But it's still it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Remember when Jane Reed was like second round pick in Resurrection? What Resurrection? The is that the playoff one? Oh yeah. No, I don't play those either. So that's another like contest selection thing. I don't play the resurrections, the playoff resurrection, the Best Ball Mania resurrection or whatever. Like I don't play those. I've already sunk thousands of dollars into it, so I just leave it there and let the chips fall where they may. Like I said before, I don't do any of the resurrection stuff. But yeah, smash in the first 4 weeks for sure. Dark Side thinks it's very likely he gets traded. I don't know. I mean, they still want to win. They have a lot of work to do on that defense. A whole lot of work to do on that defense. Obviously, they need everybody to stay healthy. They need some work on that offensive line. We'll see what they do in the draft. Like, obviously, they don't have to rush it. They don't have to trade him before the draft or anything. So we'll see what they do in the draft, or they could trade him, throughout during the draft, right? That's definitely possible. Let's bring in Tyler Warren here just to pair with the Bo Nix, which is possible. And I like him anyways. And I need more exposure regardless. So I like that. I should probably be done at 2 tight ends, but I might bring in a third. I probably will with like my last pick, bring in a third tight end. We'll see how it shakes out. We will see how that shakes out. So I don't know if, again, it's close. Like they could trade him at the draft, or they draft the team, see where they're at, and then kind of take it from there. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for the Dolphins, but they do have a lot of work to do on that roster. I don't necessarily think it would be a bad thing, but when you paid the money for Tua, and the offense is in great shape. Like besides the offensive line, definitely needs some work. But beyond that, the offense is obviously in great shape. 2 quality running backs, Jonnu Smith in the tight end room, Waddle and Tyreek, and then whatever. I mean, they have Malik Washington, who I do like as well, and then whatever else a wide receiver doesn't really matter. But they have a ton of work to do on that defense. So, and they don't have a ton of cap space, so they have to find a way to create some cap space. Get some free agents to come in, and then have a good draft. So I don't think they do, because I think they think that they're close and they want to win. And I agree with that. If I'm being honest, I think that they should keep them and just try to free up some space and make it happen. So Tyreek to the Commanders, that would be a good spot. Can we say Jalen Wright is quality? I think he is. I mean, he hasn't shown it yet, but I really, really liked him as a rookie. And it's not easy for every rookie to just come into the NFL and smash as a running back, right? It can take some time. So he's the number 2 to Devon Achane. Like, if we're looking at number 2 running backs, who would you rather have, Blake Corum or Jalen Wright? Who would you rather have as your number 2 running back? And Corum still goes ahead of him, right? So, Ray Davis, I would probably rather have as it sits right now. He's showed us more for sure. But give me Jalen Wright over Blake Corum for sure. No question. So give me Jalen Wright over Rico Dowdle personally. So I don't know. I could be wrong. McDaniel can draft. I don't know. He hasn't really shown that he can yet, and he's not the GM. He does have a say, obviously, but I don't know. They need to have a good draft is what they really, really need to do. And if they can free up some cap space and get just a difference maker on the defensive side, or draft defense and get a difference maker on the offensive line, one of the two, then I will like their chances. I will like them a lot more. It's just, is that going to happen? Can they do that? I don't know. I'm really falling behind at running back, but I'm not super stoked at the guys that are in front of me here. I'm going to bring in. Let's bring in Drake May. It's a little different, but there's not a 0% chance that a guy like, actually, never mind. There is a 0% because Josh McDaniels for Devontae Adams, that he would go to New England. That's a 0%. Never mind. But either way, it's easy to backstack Drake May, and I like this pairing, and I probably will still bring in a third, more of like a pocket, unless I get kind of boxed out there. Oh no, I have my third. Never mind. I have my third quarterback, so that makes sense. Where is the Jalen Waddle drafter? Right there. Taken, looks like a naked Goff. Interesting. That is a little bit sketchy. And I might have to bring up Tua, which I really don't like. But I might have to. And that's really gross. That makes me feel really gross. But I do feel like I have to. Let's bring in Tua. Then I'm done at quarterback, obviously. I'm just really worried about this guy drafting Tua to pair up with Waddle when he drafted a random unstacked naked Goff. Unless he thinks like Debo is going to Detroit, which I really don't. Yeah, then CJ Stroud. Yeah, it's pairs up with Nico. I get it. But yeah, I think I had to do that there, which I really don't like, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And now I'm completely done at quarterback, obviously. I'd like to bring in a pass catcher from New England, which I have one in mind. I'm not going to bring in another Denver Bronco. I'm just going to go Cortland Sutton. And then if they draft Tyler Warren, then I'm laughing. I'm super happy with that. So let's just see how this transpires. I definitely need to catch up at running back. This is not exactly typical, but obviously I'm banking on super hero RB with Saquon there. Looks like he's on auto at this point. Is he? Doesn't mean he couldn't take Tua. Like a lot of guys do auto with their rankings. So hard to know what his rankings would be. That would only be like 3 spots ahead of ADP for Tua. So it's hard to say. But let's keep an eye on this pick. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's autoing. And he goes Trevor Lawrence. You never know. That could have been. Yeah, so I'm happy with taking Tua there. It is what it is. I don't love it, but yeah, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Especially if he takes another quarterback here, then it's like I had to take Tua there if I wanted him, which I did. My boy gonna get some Butte, maybe we'll see. Makes the May pick feel so much better. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Honestly, I think there's a pretty good opportunity that Butte gets replaced. So I said it like 2 streams ago, last stream, whatever. I think the more likely, like guaranteed has a role is actually Demario Douglas. I think Pop Douglas will be the slot receiver there. It sounds like, if they're all in on T. Higgins sort of thing, then they're definitely, if they're all in on like a number one and a true X, a true number one wide receiver, right? That would replace Butte. He might still be the Z, right? He might still be on the other side. And then, but I think Pop Douglas is almost locked in to be the slot receiver there. So I think he's the safest bet to, do what he did last year, sort of a thing, like right around here. I think he's the safest bet. Butte did look really good, though. Don't get me wrong. And I've got a good amount, 10% in this tournament, 13% overall. So I definitely like Keyshawn Butte. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. We're going to... Wow. Let's bring in Colston Loveland. I just don't like the spot I'm in at running back. Done at tight end now. 2 rookie tight ends that could go, to the Denver Broncos, potentially the Patriots. You never know, but not likely unless they fall to the second round, which is also not very likely. But I'm pairing it up with the Denver kind of potential and stack. So I'm definitely done at quarterback and tight end. This is definitely a different, unique sort of team for sure, which I like. I like to do that. Now I have to pick a running back. I really have to pick a running back, which I will. It's just, honestly, it doesn't really matter who at this point. I just have to get one of these guys. Braylon Allen I could still take, obviously. Devontae won't be on this team, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll see who comes to me. Probably would have taken Rachaad White, but he's gone. That's fine. I've been talking about getting more Dylan Sampson. I'd rather he would be falling to take him, but let's bring him in. My first share in the big board, I believe. That doesn't sound right, though, but I did just send my teams to Spike Week, so it should be. Maybe it was a different tournament I got them. Yeah, I'm going to have to hammer green for the rest of the draft. There's going to be a lot of rookies on this team, most likely, but, having Saquon, we'll see. We'll see. This is definitely different, definitely a little bit unique. So we'll see where it lands, see where it finishes up. Yeah. Huh. And I probably have to do 8 wide receivers. I think I'm going to have to try to get away with 7. I'm going to have to try to get away with 7 wide receivers, I think. So maybe I should have taken Quentin Johnston right here instead of Colston Loveland, but I really like my tight end room now, especially if one of these 2 rookies land in Denver. So I'm going to have to try to get away with 7 wide receivers, and we'll see how that works out. 40 watching. Hit that like button if you don't mind. If you're watching on the Twitter, maybe jump over to YouTube, just smack the like, help your boy out. Definitely some momentum with the stream, which I appreciate, everybody. That's awesome. We're hitting all-time views, likes, subscribers, all that stuff. So I appreciate every single one of you guys, especially the OGs. Appreciate you. We'll take a look at a couple teams after this. If you're in the chat, Ingramite 75. If you're in the chat, let me know. We'll take a look at Jason's team, Huhaim's team. We'll take a look at our team at the end. Did this guy take a third quarterback? Not yet. Hopefully he doesn't. This guy take a third tight end? No. Okay. Shouldn't. Xavier Restrepo goes. Some running backs are falling a little bit. Mind you, I probably still won't be picking Rico Dowdle. Where did Pacheco go? The one time I could have used him falling into my lap and being the guy, goes at 90. Wow. Is that ahead of ADP? Yeah, by one pick. Interesting. I could have used that at, pick 116 or whatever. Could have used some Pacheco there, some falling Pacheco, but that's all right. We'll make do. We'll figure it out. Luckily, there's no wide receivers here. So it'll definitely be running back. 173. A lot of flexibility. But I gotta hope one of my some of my rookies hit somewhere, and it would have to be running back for sure. I won't take Dowdle even if he falls to me, or do I? Do I? I don't know. Yeah. Just not a lot of touchdown upside with Dowdle. Where does he go that he would have any kind of touchdown upside? I don't know. I think Rico's just a really tough click, personally. Unless he falls to he's got to be he should be in the 160s, 170s, really. I know there's I'm a fan of the mystery box too. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather take a rookie mystery box than a free agent mystery box like that. Ray Davis or Tyler Algier. Let's go with Ray Day because of the James Cook stuff that's going on right now. I'll take my first Dowdle share at this ADP if he falls. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he got taken at 162 here, and I didn't have to click his name. I might have. Yeah, because where is he? 130, whatever. So yeah, right around the Tank Bigsby, Jerome Ford, Trey Benson range. He does not belong in that conversation for me. Maybe in the Tajay Spears, Dylan Sampson, maybe even Isaac Arendo range, you could maybe get me on board. But, he should hopefully sign a contract somewhere before this tournament's over. And then we'll see where he goes and, where he's going to be. But where could that be that it's actually going to make some sense and he's going to have some value? I just don't even know. Again, we've talked about it before with Najee. There's a lot of spots Najee could go and he would hold that value and we could see his value go up, right? But for Dowdle, I just don't see anywhere that, he could go and certainly pay off the ADPs at now, but even in that 160, 170 range, I just have a hard time envisioning a roster that he goes to that he's going to be kind of that guy. Huhaim's takes Corum. I would have taken him there with that falling value. I definitely would have scooped him up there, but let's bring in Braylon Allen. Makes the most sense for sure. He obviously doesn't pair up with Devontae because I really do not expect Devontae to be on this team. So let's bring in Braylon. And then my running back room is actually coming together with handcuff and high upside, touchdown upside handcuffs. So it's actually kind of coming together nicely. I actually quite like the way that running back room is I'm landing the plane, I think, a little bit. What if Cincy believe in Chase Brown enough they just sign Rico Del Sol back instead of drafting a guy? Yeah, but they already have Zach Moss still. Like, I'd rather Zach Moss over Rico Dowdle, especially in the role that Rico Dowdle would try to play. Like, if anything, Rico Dowdle would eat into Chase Brown's role a little bit, but he wouldn't. But you know what I mean. So I said before, I think my Bengals, we need a big body running back, goal line type running back. Damian Martinez is my guy. That's who I want the Bengals to draft. We'll see where it lands. We'll see what they do, but I would be shocked if the Bengals signed Rico Dowdle and not happy about it as well. I'd be very unhappy if they wasted the money to sign Rico Dowdle. I would be very, very, very surprised by that. It would be a very un-Bengals like, thing to do. Yeah, 38% Martinez. Yeah, I'm in the high 20s. I think I'm a little over 25, probably like 26 roughly percent of Damian Martinez. He's a guy for me. I really like him. He definitely has that touchdown goal line upside for sure. So I think he could be similar. It's hard to say because he didn't catch a lot of balls, but like, as I kind of always, I say a lot, like, just because they didn't do it in college doesn't mean they can't. Like, it depends on how the offense was structured, right? It was like Kenny Walker. Kenny Walker came in and people said, "Oh, he can't catch." And it's like, what? Because the offense didn't, call for it in college. That doesn't mean he can't do it. And he showed that obviously he can, and that's not a concern. But who knows with Damian Martinez? I do really like him, but he could be, what I was getting at is maybe he could be like a David Montgomery type. We'll see, but I don't know if he can catch the ball as well as David Montgomery. But I definitely like Damian Martinez. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. I don't know if running back is the click here. It'll probably be wide receiver. This would be the type of running back room where I would bring in Audric Estime, but it doesn't make sense here. Let's just go Pop Douglas. Falls in line ADP wise, and like I said, I think he's the most safe wide receiver in his role on this team. I think it makes more sense here with what I'm doing than like a Keishon Butte. I haven't been clicking much last week since he's not my 19th, 20th round. Yeah, he's coming up. Some people are pushing him up to the 17th, 18th round, which is fine. You can definitely do that. But yeah, I'm with you. I got all my shares 19th, 20th round, especially the 20th round. Where am I at with them? Where is he? There he is. 24 and 24. Okay. I thought it was a little higher, but I guess not. But yeah, he's definitely a click. He could fit on this team for sure. I don't know if I'll end up doing that, but he could definitely fit on this team. Won't be Franklin. I'm good on the Denver side. I definitely don't need more Broncos. I don't think. Again, I'm banking on one of these tight ends falling to the Broncos. Let's bring in my 7th wide receiver and my last, I believe, right? Yeah. Let's bring in Savion Williams, who I think just destroys the combine this week. 34% in the big board and 36% overall. So I should even those out right now with this click. I think he absolutely just breaks the combine this week. I really, really, really do. He's gonna be 6'4", 6'5", 215, 220, and run a 4.3. His hands are an issue. I don't remember who that was who brought it up, and we were talking about it originally way back when. But yeah, there's issues, there's things there, but man, he's going to destroy the combine, and he's going to move up this board, I think. So just off the combine numbers, he's gonna fly up the board. So I'll take the boom bust when I can get him in the 17th round. right? 17th, 18th. I was taking him up here in the 160s, 170s even. I'm interested what my average ADP is on Savion. Yeah. As it sits right now, a little news flash for everyone, considering I'm the Isaiah Pacheco Huckleberry, 39% in the big board, 26% overall. But my average draft ADP is like 100. So he's fallen from where he was before. So I was picking him off at like, late 90s, pick 105, pick 120, pick 115, like stuff like that. So that makes me happy if he moves up the board, which I think he does eventually. Maybe not in the big board, maybe not until the summer. We'll see what they do in the draft, because obviously, if they do nothing in free agency, which I fully expect, and then we'll see what they do in the draft. I fully expect them to draft a running back. It's just a matter of where and who, the type of running back. Like, honestly, I think they need like that Jet McKinnon, pass catching sort of back is what I think they need in Kansas City. And that's what I think they draft. Like a Woody Marks would make some sense. Like Rashard Smith would make some sense. LaQuint Allen makes some sense, right? Even like a Bashal Tutin, Jarquez Hunter, those types of guys would make some sense, but they're not going to get drafted until like round 4, 5, 6, right? So that's the case. Like I'll be the Isaiah Pacheco Huckleberry. Like that's been my take, and I'm sticking to it. So, and obviously I'm probably the most exposed Isaiah Pacheco drafter that you've ever seen or heard of. So, but again, I've gotten nothing but value on him. So I'll be the Huckleberry. I'll be the guy. I will be that guy. Who Hames? You're not gonna get Damian Martinez if he falls to me. You're not getting him. He makes too much sense for my team. I have to do it. I need 2 more rookies, probably 3 even. Most likely, we'll see. Actually, probably Antonio Gibson would be on the table. Oh, is this guy in the chat? Are you in the chat? Make yourself known if you are. That's rude. That is a rude thing to do, sir. Woody Marks, Rashard Smith. I don't think they make sense with these type of goal line running backs. Let's bring in Jordan James. I think he's more of a 3-down back than the other two. So let's bring in Jordan James. I need to up that exposure to even it out a little bit anyways. So I needed to not take him. Well, neither of us got him, so that kind of sucks. I definitely would have taken Martinez there. He's definitely one of my guys. Definitely one of my guys. This guy takes Butte. There you go. I'm wondering if V Miranda 23 is in the chat. Breaking my heart, man. Breaking my heart. But yeah, like Antonio Gibson would be on the table in a team like this, but not with Drake May. Mind you, it still does actually make sense, with only single stacked Mario Douglas. And maybe I could go down that road, and then just take a 7th rookie. It's not a bad idea, but I don't really expect too much pass catching in this offense. I don't know. We'll see if it makes sense. I'm kind of indifferent. It's kind of whatever. I don't really care if I don't get them. That's for sure. I don't care at all if I don't get them. There's that guy. Bashal Tutin, one of my guys. Good pick. It's one of these two. Or is it? Maybe I just bring in LaQuint Allen again. I really want to pack a little more of my LaQuint Allen bags. Like I said last episode, number 1 pass blocking running back in this year's draft. And that means a lot to me because I know it means a lot to NFL coaches. So let's bring in LaQuint Allen. It's going to get him on the field. So If you're going to get on the field as a rookie, then I want you on my fantasy team in the 20th or 19th round. For one of your 2 free picks, if you look at it that way, which I kind of do. So, yeah. I like this team. I think I landed the plane as far as the running back room is concerned. I actually think this is a little bit of a fragile wide receiver room, but it kind of has to be. Do I think I can get away with 6 wide running backs? I might just bring in another wide receiver. I just feel like this is too fragile with Jameson Williams, Devontae, who knows where he goes. Pop Douglas, yeah, I like what he can do, but it's not like he's going to be 1,000-yard receiver, 5-6 touchdowns. I don't think it could happen, but I'm not going to expect that. Savion Williams could be a complete zero. You never know. He could be he's a boom bust guy. So I think this wide receiver room's too fragile. And with Barkley, all I need is something else to go right with these 5. Injury, get on the field, whatever. If Barkley's in my lineup every week, which is what you expect, if this was like a redraft team, you're obviously starting Barkley every week, set and forget, right? And then you hope something happens. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in another wide receiver. I don't think it makes sense to go running back. I think I caught up and landed the plane. I like these 2 rookies enough, and I like these 2 handcuffs enough. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring in a wide receiver. One more pick, and then we'll go over some teams. Yeah, it's just too fragile for me. I think the wide receiver room is more fragile than the running back room right now. Could that be wrong? Yeah, absolutely. But especially given the draft capital that I sunk into these first 5. But you have to start 3 wide receivers. You only need to start 2 running backs, and Barkley should be there every week. Even Tyreek isn't a guarantee that he's in my lineup every week. So it's pretty likely, and it's pretty likely Terry, but yeah, let's get another wide receiver in our lives. I think that'll make more sense for this squad. Jaden Blue. If you haven't seen a picture of Jaden Blue, he literally looks like Steve Smith Jr. So Steve Smith Sr., the former Carolina Panther wide receiver, right? Go look at a picture of Jaden Blue and tell me that's not Steve Smith's kid. Like, it looks exactly like him. Let's bring in Elijah Moore. I think that's a great 8th wide receiver to bring in too. That really finishes out this room. So that's awesome. Jaden Blue's an interesting one too. I actually kind of liked his tape, but he's going to be a kind of a part-time role. Even with the injury to CJ Baxter at Texas this year, he still was in a part-time role. Very highly recruited. He was like the number 3 running back in the nation out of high school, but and he looks good. I do like what he can do. He can catch the ball for sure. But he'll be a part-time type of player, but he looks identical to Steve Smith. He does look like Steve Smith. Got here late. How did Barkley go at 5? Yeah, I don't know. He just kind of fell, and that's where I'm taking him. Marcus Young sighting. That's why I had him ranked. I have him ranked. I actually have Barkley ranked at 5. I'm going to be way below the field on Barkley. Way below the field. I won't take him before 5, if I'm being honest. And typically, even here, I would take CeeDee Lamb. But if Barkley's going to fall to me there, that's the only place I'll pick off some shares. So, yeah, he just fell. Bijan going 1 is really what did it, obviously. Jamar Chase, Jefferson, can't argue those for sure. And then Gibbs, honestly, I'm taking Gibbs over Barkley personally in the big board, and we'll see where it goes in from here kind of thing. But honestly, for me, the earliest I would take Barkley is 5, and that's just my take. I would hope to get him more like 8, if I'm being honest. I think CeeDee Lamb should go ahead of him. Probably Puka, as long as we're guaranteed to have Matt Stafford, which I think Matt Stafford's not going anywhere. We'll see. I just would be super, super surprised if they trade Matt Stafford, unless they just get like a Godfather offer and then they bring in Sam Darnold. For me, it's one of those two. It'll either be the quarterback of the LA Rams will be Matt Stafford or Sam Darnold. That's it. That is it. So we'll see. But yeah, that's where I'm taking Barkley. So I guess you could say 7 if it went CD Puka, then Barkley. Barkley maybe should be ranked 7 for me. I have him at 5. Again, just because that's way behind his ADP and he typically never goes there. So yeah, if he does fall there, I'll pick off a share or two. But let's look at the team and then we'll round it out with the other two guys. If you're in the chat and you drafted, let me know if you're lurking. We'll take a look at your squad if you want a little review. But Bo Nix, Drake May, and Tua, I think that works very well. Obviously, I reached a little bit on Tua, but I think I had to do that given what I did early in the draft. Jonnu, Tyreek, right? Stacked up Bo Nix, at least single with Cortland Sutton and maybe double with one of those rookie tight ends. Drake May with Pop Douglas. I like that. Rushing ability. That's all good. So I have 2 guys that can run the ball a little bit and get you the passing points. And then, basically just a statue in Tua, but I have 2 of his pass catchers. So I think this makes tons of sense. Saquon Barkley, Dylan Sampson, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, Jordan James, and LaQuint Allen. Obviously, Barkley has to stay healthy with this team. He has to stay healthy. He has to be in my lineup every week. And then something has to go right for one of these guys. That's it. Whether it's a rookie, maybe let's say a Breece Hall injury, let's say a James Cook injury, right? Something like that. Or they're just, like Ray Davis would be fine what he did last year, 100 points. He'll get into my lineup sometimes. If I get that sort of thing out of 2 of these running backs, 100 points, whatever, then I should be fine with Barkley. Tyreek, Terry McLaurin, Jameson Williams, Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton, Demario Douglas, Savion Williams, and Elijah Moore. I quite like that room with bringing in Elijah Moore. I think I had to do that. That's where it makes the most sense. Double stacked on Miami, single stacked, hopefully double stacked in Denver, and then Pop Douglas with New England. We'll see where Devontae lands. We'll see where Elijah Moore lands. We'll see where Savion lands, right? And maybe even Tyreek, you never know. But I think this is pretty secure. I think it makes sense. I like it. And I went with Tyreek very purposefully, obviously, with my first share of Barkley. I have to stack him up with Tyreek, in my opinion, just because of what I've been doing with Tyreek. He doesn't seem to be pushing up the board like I thought he would, but I really don't care. I'll still take him at that value, I think. I think that's huge value for Tyreek. So I'll continue to click his name. I'll have 40% Tyreek if he stays there. Johnny Smith, Tyler Warren, and Colston Loveland. I love that room. Makes a lot of sense. They play off each other. 2 rookies with my Denver Bronco take. So I like this team a lot, actually. It's definitely different, but it can absolutely work. Here on River Rat, Jason Calhoun in the chat, Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. That makes tons of sense to stop at 2 as well. I like it. You stacked up with Cincinnati. I think you have Evans at least with Baker and maybe someone else. Bucky right there. So we'll dig more into that. I like that though. That definitely works. Keanu Neal just announced his retirement. So shout out Keanu Neal. But that makes sense to those 2 make sense, and it makes sense to stop at 2. They both run just enough too to get you some rushing touchdowns and some rushing upside. So I like that. Bucky Irvin, Quinshon Judkins, Jerome Ford, Ollie Gordon, Jordan Mason, Marcus Yarns. I love this. I'm not a Marcus Yarns guy, but I mean, it's whatever. It's second last pick of the draft. That's totally fine. I like this room a lot. Veterans, rookies, potential handcuff. Yeah, I like this a lot. It makes a lot of sense. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Juwan Jennings, Darnell Mooney, Marvin Mims, Keenan Allen, Fat Keenan, Jack Besh, one of my favorites. Jalen Knoll, another one of my favorites. I like this a lot. That's beauty. Tampa Bay. Oh no, I thought you drafted Mike Evans, but I guess not. Kate Otten though with Bucky Irvin, that works. Yeah, I like this a lot. Makes tons of sense. A little bit of value on Rashee Rice. That's potentially where I'd click his name. Definitely works. Yeah. Kate Otten, Mike Gesicki, and Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson's a free agent. I like this. It all works. Well, Mike Gesicki's a free agent too, but I fully expect him to be back on the Bengals. So you stacked him up with Burrow. That's beauty. And then Higgins and Chase. Don't mind that. I think, honestly, it would be better for you if T. Higgins is not on this team, on the Bengals, and Gesicki resigns. I think that would actually work out better for this build, in my opinion. Yeah, this is a good team. Very good team. Well done. Good draft. Who Hames, Jordan Love, JJ McCarthy, Derek Carr. I'm not a JJ McCarthy guy at all, but this room works if you have to have 3. That's way too fragile, obviously. So that's fine. You took 3. That works. That works. And with Justin Jefferson stacked up, then that's the only way I would possibly draft JJ McCarthy personally. It's the only way I would draft JJ McCarthy is if I'm stacking him up with Justin Jefferson. So I'm all right with that. The room works. Jonathan Taylor, Marion Hampton, David Montgomery, Tyler Algier, Blake Corum, Bashal Tune. Huge amount of value on Corum. If you didn't take him there, I would have. This is beauty. I really like your running back room. Yeah, that absolutely works. Bashal is one of my favorite rookies. I'm higher on him than most. And Amarian Hampton, I think he's going a little too high. I'm taking Trevion Henderson ahead of Hampton, so I'm a little lower on him, like exposure wise, which I do need to kind of correct. But we'll see what happens after the combine. Either way, this is a really nice running back room. Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans, Devontae Smith, Jaden Reed, Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Coker, Alec Iomenor. Iomenor is actually how you say it. A lot of people struggle with his name. Alec Iomenor. That's how you say it. Nice value on him, so I can't get mad about that. That's for sure. I'm not drafting him a lot, but at that value, yeah, you could definitely do a lot worse. Stacked up Jordan Love, Justin Jefferson, and Rashid Shaheed. I think the Saints should cut Rashid Shaheed just to save the money because they need every penny they can get, and it does make sense, but we'll see. And right now he's on the team. Double stacked Minnesota, double stacked Green Bay. I like that. Hawkinson, Kraft, and Theo Johnson. Yeah, it all works. Malik Washington, I like that. Everything works. Good team. Nice draft. Stacked up. Got some value. I dig it. Well done. Well done. Jason Conhoon. Jason, thank you, sir. Got here late. I was going to go McCarthy and Darnold. Darnold got pulled up. Yeah, you definitely don't want to reach on Darnold. That's for sure. So you did a good job with what you had. But we're going to get you guys out of here. Like I said, one draft, one beer. Appreciate you guys coming out. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you like the content. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Helps the channel, helps me keep motivated and get some streams going. So we'll definitely be back. Probably not. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Monday or Tuesday. We'll definitely do a few streams this week. So hit that notification bell too. And you'll never miss a stream. But we'll leave it there. Like we always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. Hopefully today we were right and we bank a big tournament. We'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great day. Have a great weekend.